Now, California's 40 million residents are in lockdown to try to contain COVID-19. The move is certain to impact the overall American economy, as California contributes 14.5% to national GDP. With an economy worth around $3 trillion in 2018, California would be the world's fifth biggest if it was an independent country. That puts it just behind Germany. Now, some of the world's most familiar names are headquartered in California, particularly in Silicon Valley. These include Facebook, Apple, Google, Netflix, and Twitter. Other tech conglomerates, such as HP and Intel, they're there as well. Apart from the tech sector, though, California is also a big agricultural producer, with more than 400 crops under cultivation. The state produces more than 1/3 of the vegetables in the U.S. and 2/3 of the country's fruits and nuts. California's agriculture sector is worth more than $50 billion. California plays a vital role in overall U.S. trade as well. The ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach are the country's busiest, handling over 40% of inbound containerized freight. Now, for a closer look at the impact of the California lockdown, we're joined by Stephen Okun, Senior Advisor at McLarty Associates. Steve, how is this lockdown going to impact the U.S. economy?
Well, look, the lockdown is going to be devastating. But what would be even more devastating is if the worst-case scenario comes out. The California governor has said estimates are that 25.5 million people could be infected with the coronavirus in California alone. If there's a 1% mortality rate, that's 250,000 deaths. I mean, you can't almost even imagine that number. So the lockdown is going to be bad, but what it's trying to prevent would be much, much worse for California and for the country and the world.
Steve, what's the impact of California's lockdown going to be on the global economy? Because, you know, considering it is the world's fifth largest economy, we've got tech, we've got agriculture, all involved here.
Well, there's two ways to think about it. I think first you have to see what are essential services. So the entire state isn't locked down. There are significant exceptions that is to keep the economy going and to keep life-saving equipment going. I mean, grocery stores, thing you need for everyday life, but also financial services, they are exempt. And so you have logistics, which is exempt. So they're going to try and keep the economy going while trying to prevent the worst-case scenario. If you compare California to China, California is much better positioned for a lockdown. Much of the economy is services. It's not manufacturing. So you can keep services going. Work from home works a lot more in California than it does in China. You see some stocks going way up because of the coronavirus and the need to work from home. I just saw Cloudflare, one of those Silicon Valley companies. Its stock is up 40% in March. So there are elements where California is going to be able to weather a lockdown much, much better than China, but that doesn't mean it's not going to have a significant hit on the economy.
Well, okay, so, I mean, we're looking at sectors now because that's going to be, the bigger concern here. Which sectors do you think are going to be most affected then with this lockdown? We don't quite know. I mean, we do know that it's at least until April the 7th, but it could potentially be extended beyond that because multiple counties in Northern California, they started their lockdowns a lot earlier, didn't they?
They did. Look, anybody in the services sector is going to get hammered on this. You can't go to a restaurant. You can't go to a bar. You can't go to an amusement park. You can't go to a movie theater. A lot of the entertainment industry is shut down when it comes to, films and television, and that's a big part of Los Angeles' economy, which is the biggest part of California's economy. So it is going to hit people who are in the services sector extraordinarily hard. What the federal government is going to do, I mean, talking about giving people money directly, a couple $1,000s here, a couple $1,000s there to try and tide them over. But that can only last, for so long, and that money's got to get back into the economy somehow. So it is going to hit the bottom of the earners hardest, and that is going to have a terrible impact on people's lives. And then as well, of course, for older and retired people who are not getting any income and need their family support.
Steve, thank you very much for joining us this evening and sharing your perspective on what we're seeing with California's lockdown. Stephen Okun, the Senior Advisor at McLarty Associates, speaking to us.